Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark amove.tv for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. And there is a lot of Heroes of the Storm to talk about this week because we got a sizable AMA. But before we get to that, introductions are in store. I'm Garrett Weinzierl here, as always, with Kyle Fergusson. How are you doing this fine Heroes week, sir?
I'm doing great. In fact, I hear we're both doing great because we both promoted to new leagues.
We did. I heard you got to Diamond.
Finally, on the back of Thrall.
Congratulations, sir. You are apparently, I guess, going against the grain. Thrall hasn't really been moving a ton, but last I saw, he had dipped below a 50% win rate.
No, he's not doing well. This is all solo queue, by the way. You know, it can't be done. It can, but it takes some extra time rather than, you know, stacking together and crushing it with totally sweet wombo combos and whatnot. Did the whole thing solo. And it's you know, there's a vacation in there, but it took a bit. And I realized something really weird that I have very little other than anecdotal facts for. Evenings, Thrall Town, Thrall is awesome. Mornings, it's Mage Town. Evening players love my Thrall. They want another frontline. Morning players, I got to carry. It's a weird world.
I mean, it makes a little bit of sense, right? You know, it's the morning. People are sleepy.
Yeah.
They don't want to carry.
Maybe that is it. Maybe there's lots of solo lanes. You know, you're waking up. I'm happy to take that solo lane. Let me take that camp for you. But in the afternoons, everyone wants a team fight. Oh, I just got done with the day of work. Let me team fight. And a nice, respectable Thrall covering the solo lane, taking out that Giants camp when he can, is a welcome sight.
Ah, nice. Well, I finally climbed out of gold. I'm back to plat.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Have a really good win rate on Rexar. I have one tricked all the way there.
Nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with it at all, especially when you lose your promotion match multiple times and are fighting tilt. Keep things consistent.
Yeah, I made it to Diamond promo 4 times, and it was a bit of a hurdle. But, I mean, honestly, drafting is great. We all want to be draft kings, but at the same time, until you hit that wall where you actually realize your one trick no longer works, you're not going to learn anything. You're just eating random strategies off the internet. And only now in Diamond have I started to evolve around that Thrall. I'm taking other talents. I'm really focused on, you know, getting the trait heal, which is more powerful now that I'm not able to farm as regularly on that nearby, you know, melee character. I'm very proud of some of my draft moves this week too. Like just seeing the openings, a lack of a Merker on the enemy side, a lack of a solo lane, and just getting to just destroy some Hanamura. Didn't think about covering the solo lane. We'll put Genji up there. Not a chance versus my Thrall. Okay, we'll trade her out for Zarya. You're already too far behind.
Nice. I had some other unbelievable things happen in my climb as well.
Yeah?
I lost my first Storm League game to a Diablo.
Well, first of all, might I give a shout out to John here, who I played with last night, who said that the reason why we're not making any headway, Garrett, is because everyone says, well, it's not my Diablo. Not my Diablo is the problem. I don't know what Garrett and Kyle are talking about, because my Diablo is doing fine.
Yeah, man. I think I also won my first game with the Diablo.
Okay.
All in the same climb. Like, up is down, man. Though the game I lost to Diablo, it was like the other team also got an Abathur and an Illidan. And there was something else, and our team had like multiple glass cannons that were hoping for a lead, and we never got there.
Oh, so they kind of played into what Diablo's good with, plus the Abathur perspective break, and then an Illidan that probably just caused things to snowball.
Yeah, Abathur is a hero that really needs to be controlled right now where I'm playing.
He's a ban, 100%. First 4 bans.
Really out of hand if you let it go.
Yeah.
He just feels really strong right now. It's weird, man. It's weird. But we're going to talk a little bit more about where things are falling in terms of the win rates and whatnot in the strategy, so I don't want to dive too much further into that. Let's save that talk for later.
So have you now in a new league started planning out what your work's going to be? Because you got there on Rexxar. It'll keep you going. I mean, it is still the highest win rate hero in the entire game at 57% overall.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, this is still just a solid meta for me. Like, Jaina and Kael'thas are still solid picks. Those are 2 heroes I have always loved playing. Raynor is always a good fallback. I guess my issue is switching into other bruiser territory, because the bruisers that are good right now are not really my jam. The exception being you and I have now a mutual love of Thrall. I really like Thrall, but he's not really considered a meta pick. I don't think I'm taking a pick away from anybody if I actually pick the Thrall, and I don't think I'm instilling a great sense of hope in my teammates if I take Thrall.
I find people love him, but when I see other Thralls, they're a lot more, shall we say, tank bustery than the build and style we promoted several episodes ago here that I've certainly fallen into.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. And Rexxar is just not contested. In multiple games today on my climb where I just kind of took a back seat because everyone was showing picks. I'm like, yeah, like that is first pick worthy, so on and so forth. That's the kind of thing we want to show right now. And there were multiple games where I let Rexxar go until the second or the third round, and no one's picking him. So even though I say, like, I think if I picked Thrall, I don't think my teammates would be like, yeah, let's win. I'm not sure I'm really having that effect with them on Rexxar either, because I don't think a lot of people are. It still seems like people aren't used to seeing him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the highest popularity at 8% here. I think also a lot of perspective on Rexxar is broken due to Quick Match, because Quick Match, he's up against Imperius, which I think is a crime. I think Imperius has excellent CC. Of all the bruisers, he's probably the most barely not a tank. Maybe Chen is like a traditional World of Warcraft, let me tank for you kind of tank, and everyone else makes mistakes by targeting you. But Imperius has a lot of power behind him, and as his build comes together, he's got plenty of regeneration and damage reduction. Even using your spear over a wall, he's got a little bit of get-outery, a little bit of anchorage you might be able to do in there, compared to something like Leoric Amazing Anchor. Great regeneration, but you're not going to protect your backline at all or help and engage for the most part with a Leoric. It's more of like a Rexxar. You buzz around, you haunt people, ooh, and then they get scared and deal 50% less damage, and everyone feels great.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, man. I mean, also, an Uberak, still great. I can always fall back onto him. I'm not too worried. If for some reason Rexxar just falls off a cliff for me.
But I mean, you've got a very classic puzzle right now, which is, what do I do when my main is lost? And Rexxar is filling a solo lane role for you and a Merc Camp role, which is great. That's a great coverage. I've been seeing a lot of Diva mains recently in my league. And once we get the draft figured out, once we can communicate, because it's usually an early Diva pick, and why not? What are you going to pick that stops the Diva? Like, oh no, she picked Diva. Better go play to the Whale Cassia. Okay, grats. You did a minor cute thing. Nobody's totally countering Diva except for like a Garrosh, big deal. On the enemy side, it can't be comboed right now because of a bug sort of thing. What do you take in that place? Do you take Artanis? That is wildly different than what a Rexxar is bringing to the table. And much weaker in the solo lane, honestly.
Yeah, I think the kind of if and when he falls off for me, I'm not going to be fulfilling the same role.
Yeah,
just because there's nothing else that really does it as well. Like, I could try getting back on Sonya, but it does. Again, I'm not taking a pick away from anybody with Sonya. Not that I am with Rexxar, but whatever. Look at my win rate. It's kind of gross right now.
Right,
and-
not a bad choice with Hanamura and Garden of Terror in the world to be thinking about Sonya. Because the third and in Garden of Terror, the fourth lane absolutely exists. Really Merc heavy meta we seem to be entering right now.
Yeah, and I think I've talked about it on the show. I know we talked about it in Pro, but you know that one of the bigger issues I've had maining Rexar this season, living bombs. And as I now have crested into Platinum, way easier. People get away from my bear when it has a living bomb on it. It's actually easier now to play Rexar, it feels like. So
you might also face more Kael'thas's, though, as those bans no longer are taken up in the early game.
That is true. No, I have seen a lot of Kael'thas, an absolute ton. So it might just be I'm just a little more practiced and I panic less. It doesn't feel like it. It does just feel to me like my team is more aware. But could be a placebo. Who knows? Maybe I actually learned something facing all these Kael'thas's. But it's been good, man. I'm seeing relatively consistent. Like I've kind of wrapped my brain around what people around me want to draft, how they want to play for the most part. Butcher seems to be this weird outlier right now that every now and then someone just gets really stoked on Butcher, locks it in, and we're all kind of sitting there scratching our heads.
Yeah, it's a lot of CC. And I know it's encouraged by these Anduin thoughts people are having. He also has a pretty decent win rate right now, and often does in the background. But Towers of Doom, 63% win rate for Butcher on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy. I guess because like if we're making assumptions here, there is some double soaking that can be done a little bit. There's also, you get pushed out. There's no need sieging a wall. The lanes aren't that far apart, so you go somewhere else and you get some meat with an ally. Also, the game can just go long enough.
Yeah. Stack heroes, man. Your Zeebs and your Butches.
My personal puzzle right now is I see a lot of bruisers and few main tanks, lots of passionate healers. No one really wants to be the main tank in Diamond right now, which I think is okay. It's a support role. And healing's just a lot of fun and a very unique mini game. Bruisers are really in. And what I need to do for myself is Falstad. I'm finding that Falstad is often a very contested pick on things like Cursed Hollow, still my lowest win rate map. I actually lost internet this week during a Cursed Hollow map, so it's truly cursed. That Cursed Hollow, 12% now.
Wow, man,
I played more games on Sky Temple where I have a 75% win rate, so it's okay, but I need Falstad therapy because he is amazing there. He has Merc control. He can solo lane a little bit, but the main factor is there's just too many bruisers, and often on something like Cursed Hollow, my Thrall isn't available. And those Divas and Rexars and Varians and Imperiuses and everybody else, I can't stack another Thrall on top of that. I can't even stack an Artanis on top of that for Merc campage because we still need a main tank and we need some range DPS. So I've had to actually break the weird, cemented block of Falstad I've had in my head for 2 years now. I think of Falstad as a ranged mage because of Gathering Storm, because the way we played him with the explosive hammer on the far end, and we're dedicated to him for so long.
Right. And
he's not more of a hybrid like Vala. And the build you do is a bribe build with lightning.
Right. Yeah, lightning build. Falstad's have been giving me a bit of a rough time as well, but I do find that for whatever reason, at least the Falstads I've been going up against, they have been a nuisance, but they are caught out more often than, say, a Vala, although I only see Vala on Battlefield of Eternity, but historical Vala back in the day when Valas used to be all over the place, and thinking about how they would play and seem to always just narrowly not die. The Falstads seem to just narrowly die in my games.
He's squishy and he wants to get past your bear. I wouldn't be surprised if that's just one more CC Falstad wasn't expecting from you. Unlike Vala, who's like, maybe I'll get some hatred on this, but you, and hitting your bear and being okay with it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think Falstad goes, no, I can't. I need to put lightning on something that's not a bear. Let me get past this. And oh my God, I got caught out.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also seen just a lot of bear burn since I've been climbing. Like a lot of people are just like, kill the bear and the stun is gone. And it actually is kind of a pain in the butt to get around that. But here we find ourselves. And on top of all of this, I've been taking Bird of Prey because I found myself just needing lane clear. So despite my dislike, level 1 is like the only true level that I'm sitting there making a decision about. Because if it looks like I'm going to be on Merc duty on a Merc heavy map, like say Cursed Hollow, then I'm going easy Prey. But if it looks like with the, things like Hanamura and Battlefield of Eternity still in the mat and the rotation, getting assigned to the solo lane duty, you just need the wave clear. So
what are you taking it for? Because those are all it's a forced survivability level.
It's a freaking hunter gatherer every game.
Orbing it up.
Yeah, it's just really freaking good, man. 15 armor for both of you. That's bananas, and you only get 20 orbs. Like, and on Battlefield Eternity, if you're winning Immortals, it's just lovely. I love it.
Double orbs, yeah.
It's fantastic. So, yeah, it's hunter gatherer all day, every day. I have not cracked some weird code where it's like, no, you should be going animal husbandry, which actually works for a lot of Rexar players. It's a underpicked talent, but it has a very high win rate if you look at stats. But yeah, no, all orbs all day for me, all day. So.
Not a hard thing to get on Rexar.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, yeah, man, it was a really good Heroes week for me overall. And I'm obviously a little worried because it does feel like I've really locked into this hero, and it's like, oh, damn, I've figured out how I can carry in Heroes of the Storm. But it's fine. Like, so many other heroes I really love are still doing fine. If I have to switch off, I'm ready for it.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time to be me. A lot of heroes I like are in the meta. So, anyways, man, we had an AMA. You want to talk about that?
Yes,
when I say we, I mean the heroes team did an AMA. We had nothing to do with it, but let's do it.
We're on, boys! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Click the play button, and let's get started.
So this happened just today. Started at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and there were a lot of Heroes devs included in this AMA, and we've got a lot of questions, a lot of answers, and I like a lot of these answers, Kyle.
This is a very pleasant AMA experience.
This felt like a rallying cry for Heroes of the Storm.
It did lead a little strong. One of the first things the devs did was get in there, find a question, basically about what we've all been wondering. Are we scraping the bucket? Do we just have a pool of things you designed during the heyday of Heroes that you are now going to spoon out slowly for us? If the exact question is, are you now working on things that weren't already in development prior to the December 14th announcement? And every single designer, a little Mimi, showed up and said yes, and replied to it themselves.
Yeah, all the yeses. Single comments. It was adorable and cheeky, and I loved it.
And it's what we wanted to hear. It's such a minor thing. Yeah, that bucket might be huge. It might be full of heroes. But the fact that they're actually thinking beyond what's already been done. And when we heard about, these things can take 6 to 8 months to work on. Sometimes they get put on the back burner for over a year while they put out other roles that might be important. It is easy for us to assume as fans that we have lost the designers that made this game the way it was, and we're going to have good looking healthy heroes like Anduin, but they're just a product of old design philosophies, old employees at this point.
Yeah, which is, I think, a natural place for our brains to go. I know you and I have had this exact same thought, is, well what's the tail end on Heroes really look like? Are we getting new stuff, or as you said, is this just things that were almost finished before half the team were moved on to other projects? And to have confirmation from them all that no, new stuff is still coming. is something I think we all needed to hear. But also, like, this is landing at a good time. Heroes has seen a big resurgence on Twitch as of late. I'm seeing a lot of my own old Heroes friends showing back up. There seems to be a big surge of renewed interest in Heroes of the Storm. Hell, we got a Kotaku article this week that was like the most like just flavor piece I've ever read, and it was about Heroes of the Storm. It was wonderful. It was a lovely little piece.
Yeah, it was just about how the game is more complicated than you thought. You should give it a shot. How fun was it? And you're absolutely right about all the streamers coming back. There's a party atmosphere to it for sure. And if you are, a number one playing Mario Party in your room every night, maybe you get a little upset when people say, "Oh, Mario Party, that's just a party game." And you go, "What? No, this is serious business. I want to play competitive Mario Party." It's fine. It's fine. There's a lot of people who get with 4 other friends and say, what are we going to play? Oh, I know a game. I know a fine game we can play.
Yeah, man. It's solid. And yeah, a lot of the streamers are back. But y'all should keep watching Kyle because he didn't go anywhere.
That's true. That's true. Still soloing it up over here.
Yeah, you are.
That is a bit of a puzzle for me, right? Because people were like, including you, are like, "Hey, you want to do some Storm League?" And even you advanced at the same time I did, so we're still within the leagues of each other. And I'm like, but my pride, the thing I've done, it's all been solo. Only if we equally win and lose is it okay. I need to put that behind me.
But if we're partied up, we are going to equally win and lose.
Well, I just mean like we win 2, we lose 2, so that this reputation I built of only climbing through solo play isn't ruined.
Oh, so you're saying that you will party up with me and stream together if we don't actually go anywhere.
Right, exactly.
You're a strange man.
Personal adjustments, please be even.
Or you could, just enjoy the fact that you can party up with people.
Absolutely. And that's just a pride thing. I'm very proud. The number of times I've heard across streams and Reddit posts that you can't climb by yourself in this game due to the Storm League architecture and design, it's simply not true. And I'm proud that I'm disproving that.
Yeah, but you're a hipster, and we already knew this. You're not telling us anything we didn't know already, Kyle. You just like to do things the hard way to prove that it can be done.
That's true.
I duoed all the way to platinum, and I don't regret a thing.
I don't think you should. I don't think any lesser of anybody either. This is my weird hang up where I need to play The Witcher on hardest level. It's not that hard, actually. I'm a little upset. Playing through The Witcher 3 again, hardest difficulty. It's not that hard. I'm a rich man.
This is, I'm not gonna lie, obviously because I've been winning, but also a lot of it has just been being able to play with friends. This is the most fun I've had on ladder ever since like maybe the first 2 weeks of Team League being opened up to anyone, like where I basically went in and did the same thing. Like, it was really fun, and the losses are just so much easier to take when you have someone you can talk about it with and kind of figure out where it went wrong, and also always ask the question that we all want the easy answer to, which is, I'm not crazy, right? So
it's so much easier when you're maining as well, when you're doing one trick, because you know the answers there. And that's a very comforting thing about Kael'thas, and been the very scary thing about playing Thrall and learning him and applying him in Store League. When I lose on Thrall, I go, I guess I over-targeted the tank, but I'm not entirely sure right now. Whereas I lose on Kael'thas, it's like, oh, Kael'thas lost. I did everything I could. I lane cleared as best I could. Their tank was good and in my face. I should have gotten peels. I've got all these excuses in my head ready to go because I'm experienced on them.
Yeah, fair. Anyways, getting back to the AMA and the setup to new heroes, it was also asked, with Anduin having been released over 3 months after the previous hero, will this be the standard amount of time between new releases going forward, or will this gap increase as the backfill of heroes in the pipeline are released? And KO Milker fielded this one and said, quote, "Part of our journey right now is figuring out the balance between what the team wants to do and what the team can do." Without reading everything, he also said, "I don't want to commit to a standard timeline. Our next hero is coming along great and is only a few releases away, so please bear with us and keep letting us know how things are feeling along the way." And I like this, and I really like the way he opens up talking about how it's a difference between what they want to do and what they can do. Like it sounds really honest to me. You know, they're a smaller team than they were before.
Yeah, the current pressure to keep promises across all video games right now is very strong. And you need to have a bit of a non-answer when you say these sort of schedule things, or people will hold you to it. All right.
Yeah. I mean, this is an answer. So no, they're still coming, but we can't tell. Not getting an answer about how often they're going to release. I mean, it's only dodging it if they honestly know and they're just not telling us.
That's true.
I get the feeling that Milker is being sincere here, and that they don't really know, that they're still kind of figuring out what their capabilities are with the team the size that they now have.
And it's worth noting here that we have heard that Anduin's lack of interactions and even facial animations are a bug. Those are all bugged right now. And whether or not you say that's a product of a smaller design team unable to test those bugs and get those out, or they decide that those bugs don't matter as much as gameplay being functional, let's release Anduin. The important thing to me is that we're not cutting things off at the side. We're not shaving down what a hero is to get them out.
I mean, I would argue, as someone who's also playing Apex Legends right now, that facial animation bugs are not that important. There are way worse bugs this game could have, and a lot of them are over in Apex. So, yeah, I'm all for that. That's fine. I don't care. Like, if you want to get conspiracy about it, like, no, it's just because the team isn't as big. I'm like, that's fine. The game still plays really well. Like, Anduin's
a great release.
Anduin was a fantastic release. I saw him probably in about half my games on my climb this week, and I feel like I also won and lost to him about half and half. Like, won with him on my team. Sometimes I lost with him on my team. Sometimes vice versa on the opposing team. He doesn't feel, at least at this time for me, like completely oppressive, but he also doesn't feel completely useless. Like, it doesn't feel like a bad launch. His freaking trait, man, feels like a heroic that you get to start the game with. The amount of saves that you can pull off with that grip is bananas. Also, taking a break from the AMA, talking about Anduin for a second, you and I owe the fine listeners of our podcast an apology because there was some slander on last week's episode about the heroic light bomb.
And we were a little hard on it.
We were very hard on it. And then we had some folks in the chat room being like, y'all are nuts. I'm kicking ass with light bomb. And we're all like, you're nuts. Whatever. And then we promptly went into our patron bonanza games that night and got destroyed by a light bomb Anduin with a team of nothing but warriors.
That was one of the most awful decisions, experiences I've had, because you couldn't see it coming. It light bomb ATC was so oppressive, and that much health on the team with that much splash healing from Anduin was insane. And I've also learned some, dramatic lessons about Anduin that make him way more enjoyable, mana efficient. It's a little obvious to say, but if Divine Star, which whenever you hit an enemy hero increases healing by 25%, doesn't hit an enemy hero, you get very bad healing per mana. No real surprise there. That's a lot of healing to increase based on hitting an enemy hero. But when you actually start focusing on playing that, living that lifestyle, Anduin completely turns around. And I also had a game of my own, which not on the aggressive side, like when we were facing ETC Light Bomb, I had a Diablo on my team that was getting dove, just nonstop, Garrosh thrown in, bad day Diablo. And Light Bomb going off on him, giving a shield for every hero hit that was swarming around him. We had a Garrosh, Zeratul, a Thrall on the enemy side. 3 people just swarming, trying to kill this Diablo. Light Bomb was amazing as a catch defense. And if you've got an enemy Butcher that wants to charge your backline, Light Bomb ain't a bad idea as a defensive measure.
Yeah. People are definitely making it work. Pick rates are definitely leaning towards the other heroic, which name is eluding me at this exact moment.
Holy Word Salvation.
It is Salvation. Okay, thank you. I was going to say that. It just sounded wrong in my head. But the win rates are actually pretty damn close. Like there's no major skew between his heroics.
Right, we got a 3% lead to 48% on Light Bomb. So less people are using it, perhaps picking it in the ideal situation for it, thereby giving it a better win rate.
Yeah. Although, my God, I had a sick play off of the back of a Salvation in the Immortal Pit on Battlefield of Eternity today, where I was like, I'm dead, we're losing this fight, and this is probably going to swing the game against us. And then a Salvation came down. I was like, never mind, we win this fight, and we now secure a 3-level lead.
Oh, it's a very clutch, very cool heroic to just have on the team. We had last night, I was playing Mephisto, actually, for the first time since I was level 3. I lost every game I played with him on release and just said, nah, I'm done with Mephisto. And last night, I finally got back to him with my 5 stack. And we did level 20 Durance of Hate, which is a 2.5 second root that spreads out and then does a 3-second silence on the other side. We dropped a resetting level 20 Artanis laser on top of that. So, pew, gets a kill, pew, gets a kill, pew, go down. And our Anduin just pops Salvation. So we did this whole ridiculous combo while being entirely invincible. It was disgusting.
Gross.
There were other things in there too, but they were background fireworks. This was the castle.
Yeah, that's kind of gnarly, man. The team was asked what their biggest focus is, and Keenabrew responded saying, we are focused on heroes, reworks, skins, and skin packs.
Okay.
So no Battleground in there. No clans.
Yeah.
No API, which at this point I just assume will never happen.
No. There is a pain in my heart in these recent weeks because Heroes of the Storm has always felt a little odd, a little Harry Potter under the stairs, and the Dursley kid Overwatch, gets to eat dinner and get to the nice school and wear the new clothes, and they got a map editor over there, and I'm a little hurt by it.
Oh, gotcha. I want clans and an API before I want a map editor.
That's fair. We got a lot of creative people. I think that what I saw out of StarCraft's esports and player base showed me what sort of things a player would do to a battleground that the designer might not ever think of, and exploits and all sorts of oddities. Like, they added those towers in the middle of Battlefield of Eternity. That's really cool. How long ago would we have made that decision or done something about that well?
Yeah. Do you remember when they added like the neutral lowered supply depots in front of the ramps of your starting base in StarCraft 2? And we were just like, oh my God, no more bunker rushes.
It was gross. If you weren't familiar with it, basically you could wall off someone into their main. So they got one base while you took over the rest of the map and you destroyed them. Yep. And adding this one neutral building just delayed that strategy to such a point where it wasn't effective anymore.
Right. Yeah, it was gnarly. You need to watch StarCraft now, by the way, dude. Like, everyone just opens with like a 2 base and then they start playing.
I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to be checking out DRG coming back.
Yeah, man.
That's my man. I still got his signature. It's here on my wall right there.
I know.
Still got it.
I know you do. I know you do. But I'm glad that Heroes and Reworks are the first 2 things mentioned in this focus, because it's, again, just the news that don't give up on new heroes. Like, I guess, like, don't give up hope on new heroes is kind of my big takeaway from this AMA. And it just feels good, man. Speaking of Battlegrounds, will you add new maps was asked, and Daybringer said, moving forward, we are asking our team as a whole what they feel would be the most passionate and meaningful changes that they can bring to the Nexus. When that answer becomes a new map, we will definitely look to bring one in. For the time being, we are focused on finding ways to improve our current maps through both balance and small design changes, and we've seen that. They've been doing exactly that. This is not just blowing smoke, and I like what they've done with their small battleground tweaks as of late.
Yeah, great answer here. In fact, we even heard that there are updates like the ones we've seen for Infernal Shrines coming for Braxis Holdout, Warhead Junction, and Blackheart's Bay. So at no point during this AMA did they confirm that map art overhauls were coming like what happened with Dragonshire. That was unaddressed. But I do really like how they reduce the RNG, particularly on Infernal Shrines. That ice one is really quite freaky. Getting rooted in the bigger areas, having buildings turn off.
I'm more afraid of the ice Infernal now or Punisher than any other Punisher.
Yeah, and Mortar actually matters. I care about its existence.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Freaking Arcane is the one I'm the least afraid of now. And
it's also the one we've learned to play around the most.
True. It will still kill you, but I'm not as afraid of it. It's a really cool change. I'm afraid of them doing anything to Blackheart's Bay because then I think they're going to put it into the draft rotation.
It's an exceedingly unique map that I really enjoyed having pocket picks for back in the day when it was in ranked rotation.
Oh yeah, man, I loved Zagara. I loved Zagara on it. And now, like, with my Rexar, like, please, all the coins. I have a mobile coin getter. This sounds wonderful. But no, I'm good. Maybe redesign it to have more than one coin turn in and then, like, Towers of Duma fight where we can't actually directly attack the core.
Ooh, I like that.
I would be into that. I would like them to make it less unique. Like, I know for some people that it appears that's a bit of a trigger when there's things in Heroes of the Storm that are a little too similar to things that came before it, but I'm looking at Blackheart's Bay being like, you're kind of in a way the proto Towers of Doom, and I would like to see that battleground lean into it a little bit more.
I think that while Spider Queen is definitely in my bottom half of favorite maps, I do like that when the gems fall off, the enemies can't get them. The bad feeling of watching, oh no, Medivh messed up his portal and now we just lost, let's say, 30 spider butts. That sucks. But at least we're not giving 30 spider butts to the enemy side.
So you want them to not let coins fall off?
I don't know.
I mean, now you mentioned, I honestly haven't really thought of it because it's been in that way for so long. But then you mentioned it. It does seem like an extreme over punishment for losing a fight on Blackheart's Bay, because you lose. You're right. You lose a fight on Spider Queen, and it's like, well, at least I'm not feeding them the gems I had. Although at the same time, the gems, they come out team specific to begin with. And the coins are always neutral, so I don't know. I mean, I feel like that would still be okay. I think it'd be okay for when the coins first hit the ground from breaking open a chest or taking out a merc camp, that they could be neutral, but then if they fall off of a hero. But, how long would the game go at that point?
Right, and that's where things get weird. And that's why I really like the Garden of Terror update. I thought it was very silly for both teams to eventually get a Garden Terror. You could be horribly behind, but come night number 5, you just happen to farm 2 of the baby piles twice each night, and you get a congratulations Garden Terror for your final defense as you lose the game. It inevitably, that was the great thing about having a Leoric or a Tychus on your side, because enemy team, even if you were completely dominating, was likely to get some amount of Garden Terror in that game. But it just delayed things needlessly and caused the defense to be overcomplicated.
Yep. Moving down, the questions that were asked, HGC was brought up. There's not HGC at BlizzCon. Will there be a stage for a Heroes tournament? Will there even be anything Heroes at BlizzCon this year? Announcements, game testing, etc. Kale Milker fielded this one once again, saying that they're still in the process of planning for BlizzCon, but at this point there are no plans for organized Heroes esports, and that they can't really promise anything there, even though they would like to see something, even if it's just an exhibition match. And then he continued saying, I can't go into any details, but the team and game will be there with new stuff to talk about and play, which is great news, because you and I actually had a conversation about this very recently, because now that BlizzCon tickets are sold and done and over with, we're sitting here going, oh, that's right. Is BlizzCon a thing we cover on this show? Is there anything to cover coming out of BlizzCon as far as Heroes of the Storm is concerned? And it sounds like it's very much going to be the case, which I was leaning towards. if I'm being honest. I mean, we look at a game like StarCraft 2, which is extremely long in the tooth at this point, and they still have StarCraft 2 panels and things to talk about and things to reveal at BlizzCon every year. It's usually pretty quiet. It's like a new co-op commander. But also as someone who recently fell back into co-op and realized how much damn fun it is, that's a big deal if you're into that mode.
Well, and even just hearing how many Murkies died in the last year, or seeing their sort of data panels about which heroes were a success, what they feel they could have done better, are fascinating and should still exist. The esports part seems obvious. It's still a little sad, but I like the negative is the nail in the coffin, but it's nice to just kind of, bury it. We'll hang the picture on the wall, say, all right, we love you, HGC. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. I mean, it would be weird to bring back HGC just for BlizzCon.
I would rather they didn't do an invite tournament and try to get people who haven't played the game in 2 months together to do a show match thing, and it just gets weird. I'm fine moving on.
Yeah, if anything, I don't know.
I mean, we get this question a lot. Where do you find esports these days? Caldor's YouTube. That's the one. There are many outlets. You should check out Heroes Lounge. You should check out Nexus Gaming. But Caldor is the place that at least I am able to absorb the most HGC-like content.
Yeah, you got Collegiate Heroes Esports going on as well. There's a lot to watch for sure. I don't know, maybe down the road when we put a little more distance between here and there, it'd be interesting if they did something sort of like Hearthstone used to do and just invite players who ranked high on ladder. I don't know how it would work, obviously, but it might be kind of interesting, actually. Just be like, you, 5, you're on a team now. You don't know each other, but here's your invitation. Enjoy. Be closer to our games at home.
That's true.
Be kind of cool to see that. I would watch the crap out of that personally. But another question that was asked is, we have all the races from StarCraft and Diablo in game. We are still missing a few from Warcraft, Nagas, Ethereals, even Gnomes. If you consider Chromie a dragon, which I love, and I do. Yes, Chromie is a dragon, not a gnome. I don't care what she looks like. Should we expect these races to enter the Nexus? And Keenan Brew said, our intent is to eventually have those races represented in the Nexus. It will take time. But that's big news. Although
gives us a bit of a roadmap ahead.
I would say Keenan Brew might be being a little cheeky here, because Keenan Brew did not said represented in the Nexus as heroes. They may be represented as skins.
Oh.
Which is not a bad thing. I don't know who the hell would get a Naga skin and it would actually apply and work. But, yeah. Ethereal, someone I'm sure somewhere would make sense to have an ethereal skin.
Oh, totally. I think ethereal Kael'thas would look badass.
Ooh, yeah, I'd play that. I would. That sounds wonderful. Naga skin for Zagara's Zerglings. Yeah, that would work. Do like some sort of weird Naga-esque Zagara, and then all of her spawns are vaguely Naga-looking things.
Yeah, you can have some sort of like Naga broodmother thing for Abathur. That was where my brain went first too. Was like, who's got a tail that we can mess with? Brightwing,
oh,
Naga
right.
Brightwing.
It's freaking Abathur would make a wonderful Naga.
Ooh, Sea Mephisto, like Siren Mephisto.
Oh yeah, Mephisto would totally work too. Although he'd be like floating.
He'd be floating. Maybe he's like water mancing or something.
Yeah, you have a Naga Water Mancer skin for Mephisto. Sure, I'm here for it. Yadin in the chat room says, I want a Volpira. I'm with you.
Okay. Gazlo? Because the gnomes and the Volpira have the same skeletal structure.
I believe Volpira are goblin skeletons, which is even more of a 1-to-1.
Right, Gazlo.
Yeah. Yeah, you said... Didn't you say gnome? Oh, maybe I'm...
no, I think I said Gazlo, but I may have said gnome. We were just talking about gnomes, so I may have gotten confused.
Whatever the case. Yeah, I'm all for it. Bring it on. Although Volpira aren't really known for their engineering.
I can't help you there.
Yeah. Some weird Azurite thing on their back because BFA. I don't know. Figure it out.
Yeah, sure.
I'm all for the Volpira, though. Bring them in. And then can we get a Tortolan, please?
Ooh, Tortolling.
Maybe Chen? He's a beefy.
Okay.
He's a beefy
Yeah.
frame. He could probably make him look like a turtle.
Yeah, drunk Tortolling rolling around.
Oh, I'd be so into that. Add Tortollan to playable races and WoW plays. I would love to be a Tortollan monk so that I can be a Ninja Turtle. There was the question I was also asked, has any existing hero limited your design space more than others? And we got an answer I did not expect. Not at all. Jeff B, and I'm just going to read the full answer because this is my show, and this is about Zagara, so I'm going to read the whole thing. Jeff B says, Zagara definitely has, from an engineering and design perspective, implementing a ground-changing effect other than creep alongside StarCraft's creep implementation is complex. The system wasn't meant to support more than one texture overlay on our geometry, and it's been a while for y'all, a reminder that this is a StarCraft 2 engine. And expanding or rewriting the system would take considerable time and resources. This is in addition to the visual issues that this would cause, trying to display multiple terrain types coherently and still have them look good, which makes a lot of sense to me. Finally, Jeff said, having other characters that create and use creep is problematic because they would have super strong synergy with Zagara. Even a hero that can spread creep and do nothing else would massively increase the value of Zagara's abilities, making it much stronger in any game with an allied Zagara, but not necessarily by itself. And this kind of blew my mind because I hadn't really thought about it in a while. And they're right. Like, you have Protoss, you have Terran, you have Zerg. Zerg is the only race in StarCraft 2 that even has this type of like ground effect manipulating mechanic. And this is built in the StarCraft 2 engine, and like, where else would it go? I don't know. I mean, an undead that like had like a blight, that would be awesome. Like, that kills the ground. Like, could you recolor the creep? And I believe Jeff here when Jeff says it's complex, right? Like, can you? I don't know. I don't know what you would do, or how you would visually represent that.
I do absolutely believe that these systems are complicated. And one of the cool things we learned in this AMA that we're not really going to talk about is they've been doing a lot of back coding that is making things that heroes did way easier to do, and then applying it to those heroes again, such as someone having protection was kind of this crazy made up thing. And as they come out with a new protect hero like Anduin, they're now able to go back to other protect heroes and make that code way simpler and play with it easier.
Yeah, this is great to hear.
I disagree. Even though he's the designer, I'm gonna be a little dramatic here and disagree with him, because you stack Lily, Cassia, and Johanna together, and you're not really looking at a super Cassia. It's really cute. You know, Cassia does more damage to blind targets. She can heal off that damage too with talent. She can increase that amount of damage she deals, but I can't say I've ever really been in a situation where that 3-stack has felt way oppressive, or that a Cassia has influenced my team to stack more blinds. It may even be an overinvestment of the type of light CC we're bringing, so it might be very different from this creep conversation here. I think if you increased Abathur's and Kerrigan's movement speed by 5% with a Zagara on the team, I don't think anything major would happen.
It'd be a boon for sure.
It would.
I mean, I think the thing with blinds is that they're not up all the time. If creep is there, it's there, and it's not going away until you destroy the tumor, and it slowly recedes. So it's this constant passive.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, dude, you want to add all the creep spreading in the world of the game? I'm there. But I kind of understand this. What I found more interesting about this, though, is to kind of talk about adding other ground-changing mechanics on other heroes and the challenges that would come with that because Zagara and her creep exists. What would you do? I'm assuming the bigger issue is in the actual coding of how it would interact with one another. Visually, I trust that the artists on the heroes team would figure something out.
Right, and is that slot now taken? You know, kind of spoiling future heroes in that way. Zagara is the one we got, and because you have a chance to draft her in every game, we're not going to get anything else cute that affects the ground. I've always loved the idea of a bridge or an arena appearing. Like, how awesome would that be? Honestly, when we originally, I think, talked about Garrosh on this show, I had an idea for an ult that he had, where he had his heart of whatever that teleported you around Pandaria in that final fight. You won't ever see it nowadays because you one-shot him and he doesn't get a chance to even do it. But what if over trees, some hero was able to make this illusionary or summoned bridge, and in Cursed Hollow, you could traverse through the wilderness by having this summonable bridge.
That would be really rad. Although, I mean, that would be going over the terrain, right? It wouldn't be applying to the ground level ground that's always there. So that, I would assume that the way that would interact with the creep is not the same, but I don't know for sure. I'm not a freaking coder.
Yeah, and like summoning an arena would be no different than Sonya's crater or even a zombie wall.
Right. Or who honestly I think kind of has already what you're talking about is Maiev.
Yeah, and that even unspawns. So you're right. This is a completely different effect. This is actually creep in the game spreading around.
Yep. It's very very interesting. And then we got some mini answers, which we'll go through rapid fire style. Kyle, if you have a comment, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going.
Sounds good.
Nano Infusion may work with additional summons in the future, not just Kerrigan Ultralisk.
Very interesting.
Ain't that cool?
So you heal based on the damage you deal with some of these ability interactions. Kerrigan's reworked Ultralisk is that updated code that allowed that transference to go back to her. It's tied to her. Nazebo, Gazlo, all these summons aren't affected by lifesteal or any sort of buffs you get. And that could be coming in the future for these heroes.
Yeah. Garrosh being unable to throw Diva Bomb was a bug fix. This bug will be properly re-added in a future patch.
So they fixed the bug that allowed it. Now they all agree that it wasn't that big of a deal. It was kind of nice energy. They're going to make it pretty.
It was
and put it back in.
Supremely cool that it was something you could do.
It's also the bug that allowed Garrosh to throw the payload on Hanamura, which is why they removed it when they put that back in ranked.
Kind of a problem.
A bit. The only super cute thing he can do right now is throw allied pumpkin bombers into Towers of Doom zone, which is cute.
Yeah. Again, let him do it. I think. Maybe Towers of Doom is going a bridge too far, but they said they would rather buff other warriors than continue nerfing Garrosh, Diablo, and Anubarak. God bless you.
Healthy.
Yes. Continue, please. Maybe make Diablo a little bit better so that when he gets picked, it's not as rough as it currently is. Adding a map editor would severely slow down all other updates. So sorry, Kyle. You can continue standing on your side of the fence, staring at Overwatch, going,
I like my gameplay better. I'm okay.
I do too. And frankly, I think this game still gets more meaningful updates. Oh! Sorry.
It's more like that scene in the romantic comedy where you go back to your, maybe it's not even a romantic comedy, more of a drama, but you go back to your childhood house and you kind of put your fingers on the gate and you look at the Overwatch house that you used to live in. But then your darling wife, Heroes of the Storm, comes over and holds your hand and you go, you know what? I can let it go, and you walk away.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's how I feel.
That's really nice. It's really good. Chen rework soonish. I can feel the Chen players that listen to the show getting very excited. Where you and I just go, yeah, we don't play Chen.
No.
Diva.
I'm scared of him.
Yeah, it will affect us because
I respect you.
Chen is always a possibility. Because y'all Chen players are super passionate. And if the rework is successful, you and I are going to suddenly have to learn how to play against Chen a lot more regularly.
Yeah.
Well, Diva talent shakeup at some point will be coming. Cool. I'm sorry. I should have looked up the... the context for this. They said Manaroth is time intensive to animate with 4 legs and 2 arms. Does that mean they're working on it?
They definitely considered Manoroth, and the amount of time it would take to create him is prohibitive.
Yeah. Oh, and the same question Archimonde was brought up. I mean, Archimonde is bipedal, so that would be fine. It's just an evil Draenei.
That's true. The thing they said around kind of Archimonde is that a lot of the abilities we might expect for him to have are extremely complex or art intensive. Like, I mean, how cool would it be if he bent down and built a little sand castle of your fort and then went as a heroic?
Oh, that would be so cool.
It'd be broken as heck, but you know,
the way you would need to balance it, right? Like, if a structure is at 25% health, you can activate this heroic.
Ooh, okay. I got a more balanced one that's still pretty ridiculous.
All right.
You build a sand player next to you and you beat the crap out of them for X number of seconds.
Okay, and then it deals that much damage to them.
Right, exactly.
Okay. I would particularly like that for Leoric when he gets away.
Yes.
Like, you can ghost all you want, but I got your sandcastle, you dead.
It's like Rewind, except for tethered to them.
Yeah. Health Shred may get its own color.
So this is percent base damage you deal. Leoric, Tychus, Giant Killers.
Yeah. Yeah, asking for unique colors for health shred and percentage damage. Jeff E said, quote, thinks this is a great suggestion. It's going to bring it up with the UI team. I would love to see that. Color-coded damage numbers just make me happy.
They're nice.
Yep.
I like all the crits we have now. Readability.
Yep. And then finally, AMAs are going to continue in the future, which makes me happy because this was a great one. This was a great AMA. I can't say it enough. And to the Heroes team, I just got to say, great job recently with this game.
It's a great time to have this discussion right after they did these map updates. Everything's looking real nice and clean, and Anduin released great and balanced. It's pretty healthy, and compared to the show me of 2 AMAs ago, respect's in your corner.
They showed us.
They showed us.
I mean, there's nothing that truly blew us away, right? It was like if they had come out and been like, and clans are here, we would have been like, oh my god, it's amazing. It's so, but like, it's just solid. There's just solid development happening with Heroes of the Storm at the moment. The game is in a really healthy place, I think.
And whether or not it was some sort of corporate decision to make sure you look like you're having fun in there, they were having a lot of fun in there. They were joking around. They were tagging each other, asking each other who was the most beautiful and handsome on the team, and getting into arguments just among the devs. People weren't even asking these questions. The team's morale is very high, and it was great to see that.
Certainly seems to be the case from the outside looking in. And honestly, this is done more to hype me for BlizzCon than anything else, because I wasn't really sure what the hell we were going to get. And we still don't know for sure, right? But knowing that there's going to be something to talk about Heroes-wise at BlizzCon, and that these people are going to be the ones on stage talking about it, if they can kind of keep this momentum and this outlook, I'm really excited to just plant my butt in a seat and listen to them talk about their game.
Yeah, and see what they have to show, because Heroes are coming. And, they may not be Manoroth, not for a while, but I'm excited to see what they're hiding behind the curtain.
Yeah. If you'd like to read the AMA in its full, it's over on the Heroes subreddit right now. We've got a link to it in the show notes, which you can always find over at amove.tv/ITN. Click on the episode number for that episode. This is 268. Scroll down to the bottom. Link to the show notes is a Google Doc. That's exactly how we make this show. All the links are in there in the order of what we talked about. Kyle, you did a killer job, by the way, laying this out.
Oh, thank you.
Lots of links, lots of sources. So before we get into strategy, which is probably going to bring us home for this episode, given we're already an hour, just got out of the AMA. Those of you who are supporting us with your hard-earned dollars, we really want to thank you. And if you're out there listening and you're wondering what is that, it's Patreon. It's patreon.com/ITN. It's an opt-in way to subscribe to Into the Nexus and support Kyle and myself in this show, and also in potentially more shows to come. If you like what Kyle and I create, and you want us to make some more stuff, maybe some more kind of general nerdy stuff, conversations like that, well, there's goals for that, and we're pretty close to some of them. head on over to patreon.com/ITN and consider chipping in. Some of our newer patrons we want to thank are Blue Impulse, Heavy Pets, and Patrick O.R.
Really just thankful and floored by everybody who has joined recently, who's upped their pledges to help us reach those new goals. I can tease out that Garrett and I are both very excited about doing something soon. We appreciate the support, and we hope these new somethings will encourage you to continue that support.
That's a hell of a Johnson pull, sir.
It's just a sprinkle. It's a little sprinkle.
There's a new project in the hopper. You'll hear about it soon. You'll hear about it soon. Why you stress that, Daniel J. Newman? ITN ain't going anywhere.
What? We just had a great AMA. What a horrible time to ask that.
No, Daniel said Patreon changes stress me out.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Because it looks like formats change. This is a great show. In case you haven't noticed, Garrett and I freaking love doing this show. It is a highlight of the week. We love playing this game, and we are overwhelmingly thankful that people support our activities with Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest. If you're going to worry about something, worry about Enter the Apex.
that ain't a sprinkle. That's an axe.
That game has some damn problems.
We gambled maybe.
I was just stoked on the game, man. I like Battle Royale.
Great
I still want to play it. I'm just kind of getting to the point where I don't really want to talk about it. It's getting a little negative over there in Apex land.
Hey, as someone who has been fighter game curious, I'm sad about all this Mortal Kombat drama. Games are.
I wasn't aware
tough to find a good game.
I wasn't aware there was Mortal Kombat drama. Everything I've heard about the new Mortal Kombat is like rave reviews.
On the review side, yes.
I know that there was like an issue with their there was an issue with like kind of the in-game economy. Right. I know that, but I think they addressed that already. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're getting off topic, but I still want to play it. I heard the campaign mode in the new Mortal Kombat is supposed to be absolutely incredible, and if you've ever even given the smallest iota of a crap about Mortal Kombat story, that it's just great. It's just a huge celebration of everything MK is. And it was a big game for me growing up, so I'll play it at some point.
Yeah.
And you could hear more conversations like that when we hit some of our new Patreon goals and do extra shows. So go check it out, patreon.com/ITN. And now, let's talk a little strategy.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? That seems generous.
I have a PhD in PvP.
So we wanted to talk a little bit more about the Anduin patch, which I've got to say we sprinkled a little bit over this episode. But things are still changing. Heroes are going up. Heroes are going down. You know what I meant to mention at the top of the show is that the Angels are having a bit of a resurgence. Tyrael and Auriel, the Riels, are doing very well.
Yeah, they are.
They're seeing a pretty big uptick, like upward trajectory in their win rates.
Auriel was being kept down win rate wise by Braxis Holdout, a map that seems like with the 4-man lane, at least how we used to play. I mean, even we're talking Haunted Mines and Hanamura release Auriel. It was pretty intense. She has lost a lot of that power and is very exposed in the tight. I don't mean like unwide. I mean, the towers are close, and Auriel, it has a hard time using walls in Braxis because if she uses a wall, she's probably in tower range. She had a hard time there. And with the freedom to move on to things other than that, like Hanamura, her win rate's gone up a little bit.
But what about the pad fight on Braxis? There's a lot of walls there.
There was
literally surrounded by circular walls.
Now, this isn't entirely true because she's awful at Garden of Terror. 40% win rate there. Just pretty bad.
So is it something about how meaty our front line has become? Auriel's just a pretty efficient healer.
Hold up. That was a quick match statistic. That's a 53. She's actually great on Garden of Terror. She's doing better.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're right. And Braxis is an outlier.
Yep.
I guess killing people on the push is more important than killing people on the pad.
As for Tyrael there, it's kind of tough to come up with a functional reason for why he's doing so well. He's really good alongside Rexxar. He's really good with Zeratul, able to catch up and move with him. He's really good with Butcher. But outside of that, we're looking at, maybe Hanamura Temple at 56% win rate on Tyrael. It's just great. It's great. That's a great win. Why? Like, what about Hanamura Temple screams Tyrael? If I were to come up with something real,
I don't know.
It would be that Anduin players love the light, and then they go, "Oh, I can't play the light boy. I'll play the light man." And they go Tyrael.
Wait. You're just saying that you just want to. Why wouldn't they just play Uther, who is just bringing it home right now in terms of his win rate? And just my experience with Uthers in my games, he's great. He's great. Just pick Uther. That to me, that's way more of a 1-to-1 thought process than going, oh, Tyrael's shiny, I guess I'll play him. Like, it's a completely different role that you're playing.
Right. I mean, it's worth mentioning, if nothing for our own satisfaction, Diablo felt almost another full percent this last week.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for letting me take a break from dumping on Diablo for a change.
And exactly what I talk about on the show all the time, the Gatekeeper Diablo, all of your mobility heroes went up. Hanzo, Genji, Tracer. They're all moving up at the speed Diablo falls. You know who's the new Gatekeeper? Who's that last pick that does really good, even if you have a tank and support already?
Rick Moranis?
His name's Uther.
Oh.
Uther is a fabulous second support. He's a fabulous second tank. He's a damn ranged assassin with Holy Shock. He can take care of business with those diver mobility heroes.
Yeah, no, I get that, man. Anduin has had an effect. Like, I think if you take anything away from all the kind of talks we've been having, besides I really like Rexxar on this episode, is that Anduin has had a pretty major effect in the meta, and it's more about bans again, which is what I feel like we have historically seen over the course of most of Heroes of the Storm. Is new hero comes out, we ban them, and now something that before was not, that was getting banned out, is now making it through. But we actually haven't had that for a little while. Imperius wasn't really seeing a ton of bans when he launched, but now we're seeing Anduin, who's seeing quite a bit of popularity if you're looking at sites like Hotslogs, but it's actually because of bans and less so because of the actual games this new hero is making it into.
It's worth saying at a 56% win rate, you don't really need to ban him. But there's a very high chance that your drafted opponent or ally, who is your support main, has been playing Anduin because he's so much fun. That's cool. Literally, Anduin's popularity is driven by fun and not OP or brokenness along those lines.
I have to imagine that a lot of the players that are returning right now have played Priest at some point in World of Warcraft, because they just nailed the feeling so well on Anduin.
Yeah, it's funny to say is Anduin feels clunky. That makes it World of Warcraft, but it does. The
feeling. There's nothing wrong with clunk, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, there is one thing with Anduin that is wrong. Bold Strategy has an 85% pick rate at level 1. This is his combine the two talents together and only take 1 extra second on your cooldown for flash heal. It is the highest win rate. It's running away with the popularity, and it'll definitely be targeted next Tuesday, Wednesday.
Do you nerf it, or do you buff Renew or Pursued by Grace?
Renew has a 42% win rate. I believe, much like Alex Straza's Flame Buffet talents, that by asking your support to land auto attacks on heroes, they are getting out of position and dying. And that is causing the win rate to be much lower. Renew probably has a really nice spot when you want to be spamming heals over and over again. Renew is a very, very powerful part of Bold Strategy. But when you've got both, you're not paying attention to landing auto attacks, and you're not exposing yourself to trouble all the time. So if I were to target this talent, I would say increase the cooldown more. That'd be the simplest way to do, is just give them both level 1 talents, but make it 2 seconds on that cooldown between flash shields.
I mean, it seems like the most obvious way to play it, right? But I'm just looking at Renew and Pursued by Grace, wondering how do we offset this? I would like to see maybe a 1 second cooldown reduction added to both of those for your flash shield. Instead of adding the second to Bold Strategy, like you're looking at Renew, you're looking at Pursued by Grace, going, oh, I could have even faster flash shields and empower them, but I have to choose between these two versus Bold Strategy, which now you're at a net loss of 2 seconds essentially by taking it.
The other way they could go about it is Bold Strategy continues to focus on hero damage through auto attacks or ability damage, and Renew and Pursued by Grace as any target, any enemy.
Okay.
So you land an auto attack on a lane minion, you're now empowered for your next flash heal.
Right. Interesting stuff. So you're calling it. Next patch, level 1, Anduin, they're coming after it.
Oh, there's no way they're going to sit on this 85% popularity, particularly when it's this powerful with a win rate.
Yeah, but we were talking about a sub 50% win rate.
It's true.
Like this is not it's not running away with it and winning. It's just running away with the pick. So why would you nerf something on a hero who's not unless like our stats versus what they're seeing internally are wildly different, but over time we have seen that Hot Slugs is usually more or less in line with the internal stats.
Right. This would accompany stat changes, damage increase. You know, if they do any damage increase to Divine Star, Illidan's lane clear goes up. Frankly, his damage is awful. And that's one of his greatest weaknesses. It also gives him a really interesting spot. And it lets others shine where he doesn't. I mean, our top win rate hero right now is Rexxar for healers. He does a decent amount of damage. Rexxar will out-damage your tanks in a good majority of your games. Ignoring Uther. There, Uther is just... He's crazy. Everybody loves Uther.
I also love that you're talking about Uther as a tank.
Yeah, well, Uther also has a really low popularity compared to something like Rhaegar, which is still being picked by a good majority of support mains out there.
I'm fine with it. Rhaegar is amazing right now, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. What I really like right now is fighting against Rhaegars and making this decision of like, do I just keep going ham on the Rhaegar, or do I go as ham as I think I need to go to for him to blow his Ancestry on himself? And sorry, too late. I already switched to the Varian, and the Varian's dead, and you can't save him. Like, I love that. I love doing the bait and switch, like trying to goad them into using their Ancestral. It's really fun to play against them in that way, but I also really like having a Rhaegar on my team.
We're also seeing Bloodlust have a higher win rate right now. 93% pick rate on Ancestral healing. So Bloodlusters are probably picking it in the right situation, but it is interesting.
Yeah. I haven't seen one in probably over a year.
I've had extremely dominant games where the Rhaegar goes, "Aw, should have bloodlusted for fun," but other than that,
yeah. White Mane is moving on up. And you think this is because of Hanamura and Guard of Terror? Explain yourself.
Yep. So she's really good here. Those are single objective maps where you are exposed to prolonged team fights outside of something like, where you might be more gankable in Braxis. Granted, doesn't make the most sense for Volskaya, but she did have a lower win rate on those maps. And Hanamura and Garden are treating her very well. There might also be an element of, I've been playing lots of Anduin. I lost Anduin. Oh, White Mane. That's not entirely different.
Yeah, no, actually, I almost had a counterpoint. Like, it's kind of, but not as much as one might think. Obviously, again, you don't have a trait that can just straight up save somebody, but yeah.
No, but the emergency button, I found that as I played more Anduin, I became a better White Mane. It didn't make me better at the damage to healing part of it, but activating my ult at the right time. These are all, and that makes me a better Morales now because I'm better at catching with armor on. And all these sort of things start working into each other.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. And then Sergeant Hammer. If we gave out awards for the most concerning thing we see each week in stats, for me it's Sergeant Hammer, because Sergeant Hammer's on the way up, and I just hate fighting against hammers.
She's a burden of execution for the enemy side. It takes a lot of power. Sergeant Hammer would feel so wildly different if she didn't have that pushback. That pushback, though, negates single player plays. If you're Thrall, you land the root, you start running at her, bop, no you don't, and you take all that damage walking towards her. If you're ETC, you want to get that power slide in, no you don't, and now you got to do it a second time and wiggle around in her main range. She takes coordination to deal with, and she has an insane, as we predicted last week, win rate on Garden of Terror. 60% right now. Cursed Hollow, she's a beast. 39% on Hanamura, though. So it does stop somewhere, and it stops on Hanamura.
Yeah, but we're no strangers in Heroes of the Storm to having map-specific picks, especially when something starts running away this heavily with the win rate on specific battlegrounds.
Because it takes coordination to get her, it isn't something that we can really suggest one big counter pick for. Instead, what I want to do is take a little bit of time here to help you understand what Hammer is up to so that you know why it's happening. I mean, first up, of course, we just think about concussive blasts. This knocks you back. So you basically have to make 2 engages. If you're being smart, maybe you make a false engage, or maybe you just come. The easier idea is to come from multiple angles. And this thing is wide. You're thinking, think about your Jaina Cone of Cold. It's pretty wide. You don't just run at each other, phalanx style. You need to have multiple angles of approach on her. So she has to choose who she's going to knock back here. But one of the main things she's doing that makes her so damaging, so dangerous, is level 1 ambush. She gains stealth upon entering siege mode. Yeah, okay, sneaky hammer, no big deal. That's kind of silly. But the first basic attack she deals 100% more damage. That initial pop is what scares you off of her into running around in circles in her range going, oh my God, it's Hammer, I messed up. You didn't. It's just that first pop is really scary. And you need to, if you're the support in this situation, you need to prep. You need to help out. You need to say, all right, I can expect Anduin. We'll start healing because it's coming.
Yeah. All good points. Dariba brings up the level 4 cleanse that's on a 16-second cooldown. That's another good thing, too, to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, siege tactics. Neo Steel plating while in siege mode grants unstoppable for 2 seconds. It's a little silly. Frankly, it's silly. And it hurts, and it's really, really good while having armor under it. You also have, of course, Hover Siege, graduating range. Each one is equally as frustrating. I think Hover Siege is just more of like, oh, you noob, get out of here, I hate you. Even though win rate's fine on it.
Significantly lower than graduating range, but yeah.
Here's 2 things you might not know that are quite frightening. Hyper cooling engines. While siege mode is active, hitting heroes with basic attacks reduces the cooldown of thrusters by 5 seconds. So she just we all have this perception where she boosted. Awesome. We can finally get Hammer. If she's level 13, most of them are going this talent. And there is a very high likelihood that cooldown is being dramatically reduced. So that information may not be very helpful to you.
Right, but it's probably why she's surviving, right? Like this combined with the Neosteel plating or siege tactics. These are all ways that the hammer is getting away. And even if they're not taking hypercool engines, a lot of them are taking entrenched, which is also still a way to survive because it increases that pushback.
Yeah. So there are these counterplay options that we have against other heroes like Kael'thas. Don't run in a straight line towards him. He'll stun you, and then the stuff goes off, and then you die. We can say those things about Hammer and say, oh, let's bait out the first push. Let's bait out her runaway. And then after all of that is over, we'll get her. But there are tools along the way that ruin those thought process. The best strategy I can give you for Hammer is do a charge at the same time from very different angles.
You know, my advice is?
Send the bear in and hope for the best?
No, pick right wing.
Oh, okay.
Just get rid of Hammer's abilities to escape. And pair that with some stunts, because Polymorph only lasts so long.
I really like Stukov for the silence, so then she can't use any of her abilities to boost away or push someone back. Granted, you do until level 13. You don't have the range to get her silence without being inside the siege range itself. My favorite one is Anubarak, because you charge her, you're unstoppable for the whole charge, she boosts away, cocooner. That cocoon is boosting inside, duration ends, no auto attack resets at her level 13 talent, and she's a sitting duck when it's finally over.
Nice. But you need to trust your team, right? Because they need to move up and secure the kill.
There are a lot of Anubraks out there who think I dove, the team does the rest. And I can't fault you for doing it, because when you're winning really hard, that's what it looks like. Anubrak's in my face. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm dead. But too many times I've seen Anubraks go, come everybody to the back line. And there's no way I'm getting to you. I'm not walking past Diablo Arthas to join you back there.
It is also worth mentioning, though, that if you just get the cocoon off on the hammer, that sometimes that's enough for your team to win the fight. Even if the hammer doesn't die, removing the hammer from the fight for that amount of time sometimes is enough.
Right.
So adjust to the call your team makes after the cocoon lands. But yeah, love me some Nubarak. So let's talk about top bans. We haven't really talked about what's getting banned right now, other than Anduin.
Yep, and that's a fine secondary ban. You shouldn't be worrying about it, though. His win rate's fine. Bans are as they are 2 weeks ago. Diablo, Zeratul, Anubarak, and Abathur. But Abathur, as we mentioned, he has a lot of 3-lane maps to play on, and it's worth throwing a ban his way. You should be counter-picking away things like Falstad, getting those early picks that are really powerful in this siege meta we seem to be entering because of Hanamura and Garden of Terror. But those are first picks in a different deal.
We already talked about Abathur. Zeratul we mentioned over the past couple of weeks, but he hasn't really come up today. He's a big top ban right now.
Yeah, and Zeratul might not be winning in the traditional sense. If you're not seeing a lot of Zeratul, or you're not familiar what he's up to, it's really all about shadow mending. Heal for 75% of the damage dealt to heroes. This is a level 20 talent. So you basically, it's kind of unclassy. Honestly, I'm a little sad that this is the play style. You blink in, you go, you spin and blade everybody, and then you teleport away. And then maybe you use your one to shift back to that guy that you hit and give him a couple slaps because he's almost dead. And then you walk away again. And you basically do this over and over again until you hit 20, and then you're kind of invincible and you start spinning all over everybody. It's not this hunty, ambushy, like Nova stealth Samuro style that he was known for in the past. It's honestly just a brute force spellcaster.
Yeah, I mean, he still surprises you, but yeah, he's more involved in the team fight than we may think of a stealth hero. But I mean, for me, man, it's just his stickiness. Every time you think the Zeratul's done, he reappears on your butt and continues to murder you.
Yeah, his one talent build has an 80% pick rate down the line. Most of it are his cleave talents and other sort of things that support that build.
Yeah, I've just been, when I see the Zeratul disappear from whoever he attacked, I immediately move my bear to that person because I know he's going to reappear.
Yeah, he wants to get that one more slap.
Yeah, as that person goes to retreat, it's like, oh god, it works pretty well. But it doesn't always work. Sometimes the bear charge is on cooldown. It's not enough. But it's interesting for sure. So your Dibbles, your Zeratul, your Abathur, and a Nubarak. We just talked about his merits. He's been on top of the win rates even despite the recent nerfs to him. Still just a really solid tank. Well, I use the term tank lightly with a Nubarak.
And of course, we're talking about Diablo in this bans here. I banned him, so my team doesn't have him. This is.
I love you.
Little corner of punishment for Diablo. I know we're here and not my Diablo, and y'all think we're insane, but it helps. And if he does win It is very oppressive, and the tilt flows very easily, and people are out of position. Diablo does things they didn't expect in the late game. It's still worth banning him. Either way, if we're right or wrong about just ignoring him, he's still worth a ban.
Yeah. So it's just tradition. It's just Heroes tradition at this point.
Yeah.
Ban the Diablo. It's like
Exactly.
your pregame ritual.
Before we end for the day, let's talk about a little bit of strange outliers with our new map rotation. These are heroes who are running away in the win rate, who you might not be thinking about first picking, but you should consider.
Yeah. So kind of think about what we were talking about with Sergeant Hammer and how she's just running away with Garden of Terror and Cursed Hollow. Well, it's not just Hammer who's just owning face on specific maps. Sometimes it's Abathur on Alterac Pass, which you should just not let happen. Frankly, I think you should just be banning Abathur like every game right now. But definitely don't let it happen on Alterac.
There's a lot of 3-lane maps. There's a lot of maps Abathur is good on. And there are heroes on, Hanamura here that would like an Abathur visit even. There's a lot of Abathur mains out in the world right now. And they're one-tricking, just like we are. There's nothing wrong with them. But they're going to do it on maps you probably didn't expect it in the past.
Yeah.
Sky Temple, ban it.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of it.
Yep. Lucio is apparently the go-to hero for Battlefield of Eternity.
All these tiny walls for him to boost off of, able to bump people into the stuns that flow, a 4-stack lane that he can heal reliably.
He digs it. Cursed Hollow, White Mane, you already kind of talked about this a little bit.
Yep, she's coming back up, and White Mane is having a good time on Cursed Hollow.
Yep. So Abathur and Alterac, Lucio on Battlefield of Eternity, White Man on Cursed Hollow, all of these are sitting at about a 60% win rate. Pales in comparison to the Harbinger of Death on Dragonshire, Murky, who's currently sitting at a 67% win rate on this battleground.
And guess what? Murky's pretty good at mercs. He's pretty good at lane farming. And he's pretty good if left alone. And he's pretty good when he does 1v1 fights. All just traits that you'll find on Dragonshire.
Dragonshire is that you're just eventually gonna die in lane when you're fighting over that shrine, right? Like we all do it at some point. We make a mistake, and out of the bushes comes our doom. What's really important is getting that lane covered almost immediately afterwards. And who's really good at that is a freaking hero that doesn't really matter if they die because they respawn moments later and get right back to lane.
Yeah, 67%. Watch out for it.
Yeah, just really working out there for him. This one, I have been noticing, although it's just kind of working out for me if my stories today have been any indication, but Rexar and Hanamura Temple running away with a 62% win rate.
These are all high popularity games, though. These are all well numbered.
Yeah,
there are a high amount of Murky games on Dragonshire. I've seen it myself.
Yeah, and was this on the show? Or was this did this come up during after show games last week? That we were kind of like, oh, the bonus of the Rexar and the Bear on Hanamura isn't that big of a boon, but we hadn't actually really looked up his win rate on the battleground.
Yeah.
And it turns out it is a boon.
Yeah. Speed.
It's great. Plus, like, just his ability to take mercs is pretty strong, even though there's only one lane pushing merc on that battleground. But just having sight, man, having command of sight in Hanamura is more important than I remembered it being.
Oh, it's just not one merc. That Sentinel, that Samurai, he is nuts. I see people die to him all the time.
Oh yeah, that arc, it's just terrifying, dude. We all accidentally step in the arc in Sky Temple and we're like, oh, we're dumb, but it didn't kill us. It kills you on Hanamura.
Yeah. I stand in the Sky Temple one all the time because I'm like, free boost, and you ride it like Mario Kart.
I need to get out of here, and I'm Jaina. I guess I'll just stand in this.
Free vault.
Yeah, I like that. It doesn't do that much damage, but you're right. The turret helps too. It's just, I'm digging Hanamura being back. It's weird, man. I like that battleground. I like two lane battlegrounds a lot. Like I was the weirdo being like, yeah, Braxis, and yeah, I just dig it. Kel'Thuzad's currently rocking a 60% win rate on Infernal Shrines. That doesn't surprise me.
No.
Everybody fighting in the same small area. Kel'Thuzad is doing well. You don't say.
Yep. You accidentally splash onto an objective and get a bunch of tokens for your team.
It's yeah, you're right. It's the one battleground where whiffing on Kel'Thuzad is still helpful.
Yeah. You accidentally zoned and totally won the objective. Oops.
That's such a good point. Rhaegar almost at a 60% win rate on Sky Temple.
Support taking a beacon is pretty good.
Oh, is that what it is? Just his ability to kind of just fight for himself on the beacon.
There are so many times in Sky Temple you'll be another healer stuck solo laning, or the one person who can maybe take this temple for a couple shots while the rest of the team is dead and you're the support. He has the ability to take the giants by himself. He's a trooper, and he does well here.
Yep. Mephisto on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Respect it.
It is, and I actually, this is something I looked up just by nature of my games because I went, why? This guy shows up in my game, sees Spider Queen, and he's like, oh, heck yeah, type. Slams that Mephisto. And I'm like, oh, what happened? This is wrong. It's not. It's actually super gross. Lightning is the exact shape of every concave spider lane you have on the map. All you do, spiders collapse in a light circle, you walk into a light circle, burst them all down with one lightning cast, and then you can teleport out there scot-free, not worrying about any CC that might hit you while you collect gems, because you're going to teleport back over the wall. It is crazy. It is shocking, literally, how well Mephisto fits this map perfectly with his ability to teleport. And by the way, you're going Durance of Hate right now. It's an incredible enabler. It's a great engage. People love seeing it. They love following it up. It's easy to follow up, and your level 20 on it is incredible.
Okay. I love that you did a 180 on Mephisto from last week's episode to this week.
I had never won a game on him, but I saw this guy go. I stole his build, and it was nuts.
Awesome,
Everything
man.
changed.
And then finally, Towers of Doom, Samuro and Butcher. 64% win rates on these guys.
The Butcher makes sense. There's plenty of time to farm meat. You can absolutely give early objectives with very little damage done to the overall game. Samuro, I guess he just keeps everybody behind and takes merc camps and stuff. You know,
I don't.
It's weird when you see a high win rate on a push hero on Towers of Doom because they'll come back. But the fact is, he moves so fast. He does it so fast that they never truly recover from the amount of bell towers they're losing.
Samuro is a hero I have tried to learn at least 4 times, and it does not compute with the way my brain works.
You know our Morales Valera play and how Valera just feels amazing all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Same thing with Sammy. It's really hard to learn Maiev, Greymane, Samuro without a pocket healer joining you because you just have no way to regenerate.
Gotcha. So you're saying that I haven't spent enough time alive to actually figure out what to do when things go well.
Exactly. And you really, kind of need that tank is going to take care of himself. Everybody's taking care of themselves good because my focus is on the carry assassin.
Fair. I dig it, man. Well, that brings us to the end of this strategy, talking about win rates, just kind of the state of the meta post Anduin, but also outliers. So let us know if you learned something this week. If something we mentioned here in the strategy like clicked for you and upped your win rate, tweet at us at ITNcast. We want to hear about it.
Yeah, and I'll include my that build on Mephisto here in the notes. You can find it towards the bottom.
Good, because I think 3 people have already asked for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got you.
I just had a crazy sneeze.
Nice mute button.
Thanks, man. Anyways, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode of Into the Nexus. Big thanks again to our badass patrons for supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN as the best way to support Kyle and myself in not only this show, but all the things that we create together. So head on over there, chipping $1, chipping $2, chipping 10, whatever works for you. We appreciate it. And we really appreciate our Patreon producers. So huge thanks to Declan H, Cheesy Bob for your support. Also, we've got swag available. You can get Into the Nexus t-shirts over at shirts.amove.tv. I want to see them at BlizzCon. Usually I forget to mention that until like the day of BlizzCon. I'm like, oh yeah, shipping. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So get them now. Get them now. I want to see those ITN logos running around. You can catch us live Thursday nights at 5 p.m. Eastern Time right here on twitch.tv/amovetv. Come on over. Join the chat. Be a part of the show. Make some friends. Some great people in our chat room as always. And you can follow the show on Twitter at ITNcast. But before we go, Kyle, you and I, we do a lot of things besides just this show. Where can everybody find you?
Ooh, you should find me over at twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson this week. I'll give that a go. On Sundays, I'm playing some Magic the Gathering Arena. And if all tales are true, this weekend should be free draft finally. So I'll probably be doing that Sunday.
Ooh. Magic is for the weekends. When I think of Magic the Gathering, I just think of weekends.
Yeah. So Friday night Magic, weekends. Yeah. And it's honestly, Arena's pretty damn good. I haven't paid a cent in it, and I feel like I get everything I want. It's really well designed.
It's a phenomenal game. It really is. They've done a great job with it. It is the opposite of Artifact.
Yeah. I was fascinated by Artifact, but more in like a train wreck kind of way.
I was really excited for it.
System, it was cool.
Yeah, I was really excited for it. It's just not great and very prohibitive to get into.
Messy.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, I'm on Twitter at Garrett Art. If you want to follow me on there, 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett. All of the podcasts, including this one, are over at amove.tv. Let's Talk About Star Wars is back. It's weekly. Recording a new episode this weekend. So go subscribe to Let's Talk About Star Wars. That's when myself, Jenny Josephson, and Tom Merritt sit down and talk about Star Wars. And it's a shorter podcast. So if you're one of those folks that think to yourself frequently, oh man, I don't have enough time to listen to this. Let's Talk About Star Wars is like, it's like perfect. It's like I think usually like 25 to 30 minute mark. Single topic, single Star Wars topic. Just fill your brain with Star Wars nerdery. Go check it out. Subscribe. Let's talk about Star Wars. And that's going to wrap it up. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will be back next week. But until then, good luck and have fun.
Take care.